2025 is going to be remembered as the year where we saw the biggest shift happen around crypto and digital assets. That biggest shift that I'm talking about, right, is the movement on regulating this space to integrate and utilize the technology behind it. And 2025 so far has been one of the most successful years for this, and I do think that it's only going to continue. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. Let's dive on in and let's actually talk about a few things. Number one, Paul Atkins. So he is actually set to speak this Friday at the SEC Gov's Roundtable on Crypto Trading, his first public remarks on digital assets since becoming chair. Now, if we actually open this up, we could see this meeting outlined. So it is going to be happening between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. ET. On the 25th, and this is actually titled "Know Your Custodian: Key Considerations for Crypto Custody." So this definitely has something to do with the big push on custody in crypto. We know that since going back to about roughly 2023, there's been a big push on crypto custody, and the reason why this is actually so important is because we've been hearing from major bank clients from this space. I mean, we're talking about giants. They've been talking about how custody is the biggest thing, the key to everything. Even at Ripple Swell, we heard from major banks that, once you have custody solved, you could start to target additional use cases, tokenization, payments, DeFi, you name it. So I do think that this is a very exciting one. I think that this is going to be a big one. And also, there's a lot of great names that will be tied to this. You actually have a few players from this space like Fireblocks, Anchorage Digital Bank, Fidelity, Kraken, Exodus, BitGo, and a few other ones as well. So love to see it. I think that this is great. And you also have a lot of Wall Street players here as well. So I do think that this is going to be a great conversation. I think that this is going to be a great meeting as well. And I'm excited to see what Paul Atkins has to say because this is going to be his first major remark in terms of, him taking the chair. So I'm excited to see what he says. I'm excited to see what happens at this. I don't know if this is going to be streamed live or not, but I'm sure that we will get some videos from this as well. Now, outside of that, we are starting to hear a lot of talks about stablecoin legislation. Cody Carbone, CEO at Digital Chamber, just put out a post actually saying, pass stablecoin legislation now. This is actually in response to Senator Lutz, which is a senior writer at Decrypt Media. We have new. The Senate is likely putting its stablecoin bill to a vote in the next 2 weeks, sources tell me, and Coinbase is lobbying to prevent the bill from passing on its own because the company worries lawmakers may not have the appetite to pass a market structure bill later on if they've already passed another crypto bill. Coinbase's concerns have been echoed by A16Z and by House Financial Services Chair French Hill, sources tell me, but the campaign to put stablecoin bills on ice until one giant crypto bill is ready to go is beginning to actively anger other crypto policy leaders who worry waiting could be a huge mistake. For instance, the Digital Chamber, a prominent crypto lobbying group, is flying out reps from 40 of its member companies to Capitol Hill next week to lobby lawmakers in person to defy Coinbase's request and pass stablecoin legislation immediately. There is no need to wait, Cody Carbone is saying. The Digital Chamber CEO told me Congress can notch a bipartisan win today by passing the stablecoin bill and locking that leadership in the U.S. before it drifts to Beijing, Brussels, or even Dubai. And, I actually agree with him on this. When we are thinking about what's going on here, I think that we need stablecoin legislation right now. Stablecoins are becoming massive. They continue to grow and grow and grow. And getting legislation around stablecoins in the U.S. passed as soon as possible will not just support the U.S. financial market in terms of this new tech class, right? But it would also reinforce the U.S. as a digital asset leader. We already know outside of the U.S., stablecoin initiatives are growing. The UK wants to get their digital pound ready. The EU already has, plans for a digital euro. Outside of that, we're starting to see Brazil pushing for, Brazilian stablecoins. I mean, the stablecoin race is on, and the best way to really kind of get behind this and get the foot on the gas is by passing legislation to not only, not only accelerate stablecoin initiatives in the US, but also accept them and get, proper laws in place to provide clarity for the stablecoin side of things so that banks could start to offer stablecoin solutions and services, or even adopt specific players like Circle's USDC or even Ripple's RLUSD. I think that right now is the best time for stablecoin legislation. Now, outside of this, we did get an update from Smoke Dog, because this is a remark called Stablecoin Summer, and we have stablecoin legislation in the United States is expected to be passed by Congress by July of this year. I don't know about you guys, but we are roughly almost 2 months away from July. The month of April is almost over. Things are going to start to, shift into overdrive around stablecoins. We expect to see multiple large financial institutions, banks, fintechs, and payment platforms rapidly launch and support stablecoins. Here we have, by July, the US Congress is expected to pass landmark stablecoin legislation creating a clear and compliant path for stablecoins at scale. We expect to see multiple large financial institutions, banks, fintechs, and payment platforms rapidly launch and support stablecoins. Growing stablecoin adoption will benefit adjacent sectors, including DeFi and other crypto applications. Yeah, this is very exciting stuff. And you know what's crazy about this? We already know that banks want to get behind this space in a big way. And what better way to do that than through stablecoins? We know that the OCC on March 7th did clarify bank authority to engage in certain cryptocurrency activities, and they did mention stablecoin activities specifically. We have the OCC published interpretive letter 1183 to confirm that crypto asset custody, certain stablecoin activities, and participation in independent node verification networks such as distributed ledger are permissible for national banks and federal savings associations. So when we think about this, yeah, the every single obstacle that you could think of in place of stablecoin initiatives is now cleared completely. And even the FDIC later in the month of March on the 28th also put out a statement on this. They issued new guidance for FDIC supervised banks that clarifies the process for banks to engage in crypto related activities. And again, the main thing was stablecoins. Stablecoins is the focus here. That's why legislation is so important for stablecoin initiatives, because the banks already have the green light. So once we do get legislation, passed, all of a sudden, you're going to start to see banks go all in on stablecoin initiatives. Now, I believe that Coinbase, the main reason why they want to put a pause to this is because of the recent move, which is over a dozen crypto firms pursuing OCC trust charters. They want to become banks, essentially. Now, we know Coinbase was one of them. Circle was another one. BitGo was another one as well. There's a lot of great players from the space, and we even have an update over here from Bitcoin.com news. 15 plus crypto giants are gunning for US banking licenses. Names like Circle and BitGo are lining up at the OCC as US regulators finally throw open the doors to the Fed's inner circle. We know that Coinbase was also another firm. The FDIC just okayed crypto moves without pre-approval. The Fed is warming up, and the OCC's latest letter gives the green light to everything from stablecoins to DLT custody. This is a full-on push to plug crypto straight into the core of America's financial arteries. We're witnessing Wall Street 2.0 being born. Will the Fed soon be run on blockchain rails? And this is also in response to what the OCC just recently released, which this is actually coming from Rodney Hood, acting comptroller of the currency, OCC. And we have national banks and federal savings associations are well positioned to support crypto asset activities from within the federally regulated banking sector. Using stablecoins for payment activities is now legally permissible. RLUSD and XRP are now legally authorized for use by the US federal institutions. Listen closely to this. Check it out.
Digital assets are firmly ingrained in the financial services landscape. Today, more than 50 million people own cryptocurrency, and hundreds of businesses engage in cryptocurrency and require banking services. National banks and federal savings associations are well positioned to support crypto asset activities from within the federally regulated banking sector. I'm pleased that recently the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency clarified that certain crypto-related activities, including crypto asset custody, holding deposits as reserve backing stablecoins, and using distributed ledger technology and stablecoins for payment activities are all legally permissible. The OCC also confirmed its expectation that banks conducting novel crypto activities do so with appropriate risk management processes in place. This action reduces regulatory burden, encourages responsible innovation, and enables banks to leverage new technology and innovative ways to serve their clients and customers. To learn more, visit occ.gov.
And listen, whether or not you think that this pertains back to Ripple with RLUSD and even XRP, I want you guys to understand the timeline here, okay? In a previous video, I actually talked about this. I said that when you think about the timeline around XRP and even around Ripple, it feels very, very aligned. Every single move that we are now starting to see around the US feels extremely aligned with what Ripple has been doing. Back in April of 2024, we got the announcement that Ripple was launching RLUSD. Later that month, they were in a meeting, a private meeting with the US Secretary of the Treasury, talking about integration of stablecoins, CBDCs, and even tokenization within the US financial system. Fast forward a few months later, all of a sudden, you are starting to see an entire world open up on the XRP ledger because we witnessed so many big partnerships around tokenization. Then, towards the end of the year, I didn't even mention that in the summer, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse and also Stuart Alderoty did meet with Trump even prior to him winning the election. But fast forward to the end of the year, we got the announcements that number one, Trump won. Number two, Ripple launched their RLUSD stablecoin. Then they met with David Sachs. They also met with Trump. They also met with Scott Bessent. And there were so many big discussions happening around stablecoin initiatives. And then after we launched right into 2025, every single announcement that we heard was, all right, time for regulation, stablecoin legislation as well. We need to get behind this as soon as possible. Everyone's talking about institutionalization of crypto at a time where Ripple has been, working with institutional players for years and years and years, while the entire space scolded them for this. They called XRP the banker's coin, right? It feels as if everything is in Ripple's favor at this point, and same with XRP. But what's crazy about all of this, right, is the case wrapping up right around the same exact time that we're starting to see legislation become a reality around stablecoins. We're starting to see the regulatory push for crypto and the entire market around crypto also opening up. This is something that I think everyone should be paying attention to, these connections and these moves. I even made a post actually in my community over on X. And if you guys are not a part of this, I think you guys should join it. I recently created this group for anyone that wants to join. It's completely free. I made a post in this yesterday, and I talked about all of the moves happening around these big banks. I'm going to be including this in a video very soon. But again, when we think about the connections between Ripple, between XRP, and between the biggest banks out there, it's very clear that there's a much larger plan behind all of this. You think that you're probably thinking that I'm speculating here, or, I'm extremely biased. But even the licenses that Ripple does hold, everything that Ripple has been doing over the last few years is so valuable at this point now. And what's crazy about it is that everyone thought that Ripple was just this, this Wall Street player in disguise in crypto, and that they were terrible for the space. And XRP is this banker's coin. You can't trust XRP. You got to go all in on Bitcoin and this and that. And we're now starting to see a completely different world open around crypto, where utility is starting to shine. And also the players that are actually, coddled up against all of the institutional players are going to be seeing the most success here, which means, guess what? Ripple won, XRP won, RLUSD won. And yes, I do strongly believe that Ripple and XRP and even RLUSD will 100% be plug and played into the US financial system. I think that we are going to start to see the US financial system running on digital rails. It might not happen overnight, But, you know, from this point on, everything is going to be put in place to make sure that that becomes a reality, because that's the future that we're headed towards. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, to notifications on, because I'm on free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.